not the button I wanted to press yet.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
I'm Jordan Klinger, an attorney at McIntyre Law. The decision to hire an attorney after you've been injured is important. The decision on who to hire is even more important. At McIntyre Law, we will settle a case if the offer to our client is fair. Partial justice is no justice at all. At McIntyre Law, we are committed to obtaining full justice for our clients. Contact McIntyre Law at 405-917-5200 or visit us at mcintyrelaw.com.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Wednesday, my dude.
And welcome into Wednesday night programming here on KLRNradio.com. I'm one half of the opening act crew here for Chat Lives Matter Night. I'm Mr. Rick Robinson. She's the other half, Mrs. Daisy Lennox. We're live. We do this thing every Wednesday night, mostly. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Mostly every Wednesday night. Mostly my fault.
Oh no, I wasn't throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying it doesn't always happen. Kind of like tonight, we're only doing 2 hours because everybody else is like, I want the night off, and I'm like, fine, I'll go run the rest of the DNC on the Beacon. So it's
nobody wants to watch that shit. Nobody
it's me, you, and G, and that's it.
at the DNC. What?
No, it's me, you, and G tonight. We're doing.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you meant I had to watch that shit again. I'm like, dude.
No. I'm not paying your booze bill, ma'am.
I can't drink any booze. That's why I had to log off last night. I'm like, I can't listen to this woman anymore. But something did occur to me in the post show, I guess. I don't know, glow. So you had that fat freaking trans pushing freaking generational wealth billionaire, right? JB Pritzker, talking about how he's a billionaire and a real one, and clearly that's inherited wealth from the family because they own a hotel chain. He's kind of like a fat, ugly Paris Hilton, okay? And Michelle comes up and starts talking about how generational wealth is affirmative action and it robs other people of what they're due. And then the freaking SEALs out in the audience like clap and woohoo for both of them. It's like you people don't even know what you believe.
That's because they don't believe in anything. That's the problem.
But I mean, you're not even remotely a little bit consistent. Like there's no consistency there whatsoever. And then Barack Obama talked about a cult of personality.
Yeah, right? I thought that was...
Like, I'm sitting there going, dude, all you have to do is go back and look at the polls from when you were president. You were personally popular and no one liked your policies. That is what we call a cult of personality. Donald Trump, on the other hand, was not personally popular. But if you poll people, they all say they were better off when he was president than they are now. That's the opposite of a cult of personality.
Oh, dude, I wish I would have remembered to bookmark this because I saw something earlier today that was absolutely amazing. So it was a woman doing the whole person on the street interviews, right? So she first would go to a white person, then she would go to an ethnic person. And anytime she asked a white person who they were voting for, male or female, 9 times out of the 10 people that I saw her ask, they all said Kamala Harris, but they never really explained why. The first woman that she asked...
Because that's the Bradley effect. They all want to look like they're doing it.
But yeah, so the first woman that she asked was white, and she said Kamala Harris or Trump. She said, well, Kamala Harris. And she's like, okay, so can you explain why? She's like, for so many reasons, and I don't really feel like I need to. So that was the common answer anywhere along the melanin-free spectrum. The interesting thing was anytime she found a person of color, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their gender, every single one of them, except for one dude that I think yelled something about I voted for Pedro or some other weird shit right at the very end because it cut out and I couldn't hear it very well, all said they were voting for Trump and gave very specific reasons as to why they were voting for Trump. It was weird.
Well, that is weird, but it's also very typical. I mean, if you're on camera with like the way things are in this country and you can be identified, who are you going to say you're voting for if you're whitey?
I mean, I guess you got a point.
Unless you work for yourself and nobody can fire you, like what are you going to say? Or you're Elon Musk.
That dude gives an entirely new definition to fuck you money. I still find it hilarious that there was about to be a lawsuit with X Rumble and then the company that was jerry rigging the ads, and as soon as they filed, they were like, no, we're gonna go away now. Which kind of sucks.
They're just gonna pop up under a different name, but
I was gonna say all they're gonna do is restructure and come up under a different name.
Yeah, no, and then Elon can threaten. It's a constant game of whack-a-mole with these people, right? But I mean, Elon Musk tweeted the other day, perhaps I'm too defiant. Dude, really? I just started cracking up. I'm like, oh, okay. Cooper.
Apparently, Cooper has things to say.
Cooper gets scared when I laugh. So, anyway, I just thought Elon Musk, I'm too defiant. Or perhaps I'm too defiant, like questioning the audience. Like, okay, dude, all right. You're not defiant enough because you can be defiant for the rest of us. Keep going.
Yeah, we need you to be defiant for the rest of us. So, how about those Kamala
Precisely.
numbers that came out today? Those were awesome, right?
What?
How about those Kamalanomics numbers that came out today? Those were awesome, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's only close to 1 million misses on jobs, but I mean that was totally intentional, right?
Oh yeah, no,
So we're gonna float up because you have to look at it one of two ways, and it could be either one. But I tend to go with the latter. So the first one is they've been pumping up the numbers to make Joe look good, right?
Yep.
The second one is they've been pumping up the numbers so that they could fix the numbers just in time for the Fed to meet, so the job market cools and the Fed can drop interest rates.
I'm gonna say it's probably half dozen to 1/6 of the other.
Either way, it works out,
But yeah, so that, and I saw Steve Deace put out a tweet earlier today. It's like, for anybody who's wondering how many jobs that actually is, that's more people magically showing up off the job rolls than the population of some of our biggest cities. I was like,
yeah, no. Like, I mean, it's just slightly less than Atlanta.
Yep.
That's not a small miss. That's a large miss.
Yeah. Kamala.
But they're just trying to give the Fed a reason to cut rates, because who does that benefit?
I don't really know at this point how job losses would cause the Feds to want to cut the rates, since the rates are supposed to help fight inflation anyway. But I don't know. I don't really understand half of what they do with economics anymore, because it's all become some weird voodoo cult bullshit. I'm just waiting to find whoever's running the numbers sacrificing a chicken, because I don't really know what they're doing anymore, because it's none of it makes any damn sense.
Well, I don't know. I was super excited with the Robert F. Kennedy news today.
I saw that too.
Yeah, it's like pretty much confirmed.
I'm really hoping everything comes out exactly the way I'm hearing that it's going to come out, because one, in the states where he's been on the ballot, he's been pulling about 3 to 4% away from both of them. So if Trump gets even half of that back, that would be kind of amazing. Because the other thing that's driving me nuts about the polls, and this is weird because I don't know if I've talked about this on this show yet or not. So you know me, I like to go find the methodology for the polls, kind of dig around, see what's what. I've never seen them do this before, and I kind of understood it at first, because with Joe Biden, they were typically oversampling by about 4, and then standard weighting on how they were reaching people. So he was getting blown out of the water. So they used same methodology when the swap happened, and then she was being blown out of the water. Then the next thing you see, it's D+7. Well, we're trying to account for the new enthusiasm. Okay, whatever. So then the next one I see is D+10, but they've also changed the comms weighting. So, the weighting of the communications. So this one is more heavily weighted towards online contact methods and is now D+10. And since they got busted, because everybody started talking about it around the same time that I found it, because I guess I wasn't the only one looking, now all of a sudden they've buried the methodology so far down, you can't find it half the time. So I don't know how accurate any of these polls are, which is annoying.
But I mean, you're talking about one man on the street where it was racially divided. There was another man on the street where everybody but one, no matter what their color was, said they were voting for Trump in Chicago.
Oh, I know. I figured Don Lemon went immediately to a safe space and never came out for the the rest of the night.
Yeah, I mean, what is that? What is that? That's Chicago. That is deep blue Chicago.
Chicago's not as blue as it used to be because a lot of the people there that are people of color are pissed over the migrant situation because it's now directly impacting them, and they're seeing their government taking resources and giving them to these people when these people were here first and they still need them. So, I mean, I think there are a lot of things that nobody's accounting for. And I don't know how much longer I expect the media to carry her water to a point, but I don't know how much longer they're going to be in this full honeymoon phase, because even them half the time when she spouts this communist crap are like, we don't like that. What are you doing?
Well,
Don't do that again.
it reduces opportunities for everybody. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just sitting there and watching this train wreck of a DNC that they can't keep on the schedule. They literally had their marquee speaker, Barack Hussein Obama, on at 11 p.m. last night. He was not even in prime time.
Nope.
So are we going to have the vice president at midnight tonight? The vice presidential candidate?
I mean, all I know is apparently they're not keeping the scheduling very well. They're having issues.
Like the press is getting pissed because they gave all these passes to influencers who aren't there to do anything. They're not part of the media. Like, it's not going well.
No, it's not going well at all. And one of the best indications that it is not going well is the fact that, and look, I get it. In most conventions, the top nominee comes in night one, then just kind of disappears for a while and comes back for night four. That's kind of normal. That's why everybody was kind of surprised that Trump just kept hanging out in the boxes. But everybody was also surprised. Like, this is the first time I've never tried to see him make everything all about him. He's just sitting there enjoying it all.
So, well, yeah, but he's also a production guy. There's nothing that happened at the RNC that he didn't have his hands directly involved in.
Yeah, and that's.
I mean, even the one that he did during COVID that was remote was so well produced. There was heart-tugging stuff in there, you know? I mean, you had, and this year you had the Gold Star families. You had Angel Moms. You had all this stuff going on. I mean, it was a production, and Trump was going to make sure that it went off on time, unless, of course, it was his own speech, which went on way too long.
Yeah, I kind of have a different take on that. I think at that point, he got through all the points he really wanted to make, and then he was just so grateful to still be able to be there and still be standing. That he's like, screw it, I'm going to talk to my friends for a while. But yeah, after I was okay for like the first 20, 30 minutes were awesome. Then the next 10 to 15, I was like, okay, it's pretty cool. Now, once we got into like an hour territory, I was like, yeah, time to go, bro. But it is Trump. What the hell are you going to do? But the reason I brought that up is because you made the point that I was about to make. Kamala Harris is trying to do the same thing over there because everything that's being talked about, everything that's being said had to be run through her. But there's a very specific reason that she wasn't there last night. And that's because, at least according to the scuttlebutt that I'm hearing, everybody that's currently still involved in the White House mess is really, really pissed at Barack Obama right now. So even though they needed him to be there, she didn't want to be there. So that's why she was 90 miles away doing something else. And then I'm well aware that it was a dig at Trump. Oh, look, my DNC is going on and I'm pulling crowds bigger than what you had in your RNC in your same arena, which, I mean, like it or not, they're doing the headspace game pretty well with him. And I'm not a fan of that. But at the same time, all of this is just weird because you've got members of their own party saying we can't even get in. You've got people talking about being trampled. You've got people talking about, breaking through barricades, and the press is pissed because I guess they're for the broadcast boxes, they have to pay for those, and they're twice as expensive as they were for the RNC, and they're like, what the hell is this? And it's just I don't know. I mean, for as much as they're trying to put up this whole production of being a united front and a happy family, they seem to forget that one half of their family, their blended family, as the second gentleman like to keep saying over and over again, my huge blended family. Well, half of your blended family's at the dinner table. The other half is outside trying to burn shit down.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe fix your shit. Maybe
Right.
fix your shit. But whatever.
Well, and I got so sick of hearing about family values when they have an abortion bus outside.
So was I the only
And
one
I'm
that was
sorry if I hear one more. I feel terrible for the woman from Texas. I feel terrible for any woman that wanted a child and something happened to. However, those were activist doctors. There's nothing in the Texas law that prevented her from being taken care of. And I'm getting tired of the story. Trump has nothing to do with the law in Texas. The law in Texas was actually there and being enforced before Roe versus Wade was overturned. And there have been activist doctors there who refuse care because they can. And then these women have these stories that, are terrible and heartbreaking, but didn't need to happen. And of all people, that ghoul, Cecile Richards, my God, she's starting to look like the Crypt Keeper, though.
Yep. All right.
Like, seriously, she looked awful. She looked like somebody seriously eating her soul.
Well, that would require that she still had one. But so since this is actually part of our topic list that we've brought up, Jen Homestead just put something on my radar, so I want to pull this up for everybody. Hang on a second. Is it that one? I think it's that one. I think. I have too many tabs open. I think it's that one, though. I guess we'll find out in a second. Nope. That's yeah, it is. Okay. So never mind. So there's that. And
when you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this?
Sorry, I thought the clip was going to be a little more explanatory. I guess they put a lot of the exposition in the tweet itself. So this is actually at day 3 of the convention as they're getting underway. One of the reporters is asking, I guess, one of the people affiliated with the campaign if they believe the new numbers that have come out showing that nearly 1 million jobs have just vanished. And you guys heard the answer. I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything that's legit.
Yeah, it came out from the Department of Labor.
Yeah, she tried to point that out. It didn't seem like this person was interested in hearing that. But this again goes back to something that I've been trying to say for a while. I don't know how to share a country with these people anymore. I just don't, because we're not the same. At this point, we are now living in 2 completely different realities. In their reality, Donald Trump is evil enough that he staged an assassination attempt to garner sympathy, even though it wounded 2 people and killed a 3rd. In their reality, even though Joe Biden is in control of the administration right now, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics put out numbers to help Trump because it's Trump. I don't know how we, as much as I've always thought we could find a way to bring everybody back together, I don't know how anymore. I don't, because these people have lost it. I don't know if it was Trump that broke them. I don't know if it was a combination of COVID and Trump that broke them, but these people are broken in a way that I've never seen before, to the point where they have practically.
I disagreed with everything Trump and the administration did during COVID. I mean, we had a whole podcast about that.
Oh, I know. I did too.
I'm still going to vote for him.
I mean, if I have to choose between Trump and the commies, I'm picking Trump.
Well, and I'm going to be real interested to see because if Robert F. Kennedy comes over, that is another very articulate spokesperson on behalf of Trump.
But his voice just makes me want to take a number 2 pencil.
It's gotten way better, dude. He had surgery.
I don't know.
If you've heard him lately, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be.
Maybe I'm still hearing the older clips. I'll have to pay more attention the next time he's on, because normally
it's like way better than it was.
Calvin, I saw what you did there, asshole. Turn your calculators upside down if you're in chat, or your phones.
I don't know. I just think, and not only that, but now you have this way lefty tech entrepreneur that Kennedy had picked for VP going on Fox News to explain why aligning with Trump would be the right thing for them to do.
I definitely saw that today. Sorry, I think I had myself on an internal channel there for a second, so I don't know who all heard me. But I definitely saw that today. And I mean, it because that's been on a loop in my feed almost all day today. And it was just the way that she basically explained to them is like, look, even if you beat us, you could have beat us without pulling all the crap that you pulled. And even though she was very nice and very politically correct about it, she basically said, now I want scalps. And it was glorious.
Well, and I mean, she basically said, we can't let these people win. They're like authoritarian.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they're proving, because, and that's just it. The Democrats didn't used to care if there were third-party candidates or, the Green Party chick ran or this happened or that happened. But they've realized that because people are becoming more and more disenfranchised with both parties, that they're losing their stranglehold, and they can't have that. And I mean, look, I will freely admit this is no longer my grandfather's Republican Party. But then again, my grandfather was a Democrat. So was my dad for the longest time. But everybody seems to forget that all of the ire and everything that the establishment has been pointing at Trump, even with all of his flaws, even with all of his BS, was nearly the same thing that Barry Goldwater and the Goldwater Republicans tried to do to Ronald Reagan, because they viewed him as a populist too. And Ronald Reagan wound up being one of the best Republican presidents ever, save Abraham Lincoln. Donald Trump, if not for the shenanigans that happened in with COVID that we now know, with everything else that they tried to do during his first 4 years in office, likely would have been on track to be equal to that or slightly below. Because I don't think anybody's ever going to elevate anybody past Reagan, no matter how much they might want to. But with everything that happened, with all the weirdness that happened, and you and I have both had this conversation in the very beginning when they first started leveling charges. He just needs to get out of the way and let DeSantis run, because then all the baggage goes away. Unfortunately, we weren't the voices anybody was listening to. So again, at this point, if my choice is either voting for communisms to teach the orange man a lesson, or stopping the communists, I choose to stop the communists, because, I mean, that's the thing. And I was talking about that in one of the rooms that we're in common today. Even with all these people that are currently trying to teach the orange man bad and all of MAGA a lesson, because they're going to just not vote top ticket, or they're going to stay home because they're in safe red states, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. No matter what they are or what we thought they were, we used to all be able to agree that communists deserved skydiving lessons out of helicopters without parachutes. And we're not there anymore, because these people are apparently, and again, this goes back to what I was just saying about the left. There is a part of what used to be the Republican Party that is now splintered from it, that is so broken that they will do and say anything as long as Donald Trump doesn't get into office again, even if it means selling the rest of us down the river and turning us over to communists.
David French.
I mean, well, his last name is French. It's kind of big, dude. But you're not wrong.
I know, but I'm just saying, David French, the conservative case for the, satanic monkey statue in Houston. The glorious First Amendment, whatever, drag queen story hour. Like, I'm getting so sick of being lectured to by people like him.
Dude,
Like,
I don't
no,
understand.
sir.
I don't understand that either. Look, if you as an adult want to take your kids to a drag show, that's between you and whoever is, somebody that you answer to. But that doesn't mean that I want to have my kids at a library or my grandkids at a library and suddenly find out that there's a drag queen doing story hour there. Now, granted, in Oklahoma, unless I go to somewhere like Norman or Tulsa, I'm probably not going to see that. So I can make sure that my grandkids don't usually wind up having to be exposed to something like that. But again, it's like I've been telling everybody else, all of these people that are like, well, it doesn't really matter if I vote because I'm in a safe red state. Everybody used to say that about Georgia. Now Montana's starting to turn purple because there have been a lot of people that have vacated the blue hell known as California and are now starting to turn Montana blue because leftists are locusts. They flee when things get so bad that they can't handle it anymore, and then they move to a new place, and then they start voting for the same things that turn the last place into the place that they couldn't handle anymore. And I just, like I said, I don't know anymore how we cohabitate with these people because they're nuts. Watching what's happening with the DNC tonight or with the last couple of nights has proven to me that these people are absolutely nuts, and I don't know how we can come together ever again because it's not going to be possible. I wish it were. I wish it was easy enough, but I don't know any way to do that because
I don't know. I think if Donald Trump and RFK Jr. can come together and get some things done, I think that could cover like 65 to 70% of America, and you're just left with the 30% that's freaking crazy.
Oh, no, I don't disagree, and that's why I was so excited to hear that he's actually considering, and even Trump said today, if he endorses me, that's something that I would highly respect. And then they asked him about whether he would be open to giving him a cabinet position of some sort, and he's like, I'm open to anything, because he's Trump. But and
Junior was on with somebody today, might have been Beck, and saying, look, if he comes over, he's got some great ideas about how to drain the swamp. We need somebody who knows what he knows. I mean, he's been suing the government for 40 years.
Yep.
He knows what's wrong at the CDC, the FDA, the USDA, the NIH. And he has ideas on how to fix it. And the people who really know how to fix it are in his camp. The Del Bigtrees, the Peter McCulloughs, the people, the Jay Bhattacharya's, the people who know what needs to be done to unleash true innovation and unleash research and get all the corruption out of it are all in Kennedy's camp. So I'm hoping that's an actual thing for real.
I guess we'll find out on Friday.
Well, I just don't see Kennedy giving a speech in Arizona with Trump giving a speech in Arizona and then nothing coming of that. That just seems a little too clean.
Yeah. But I mean, everybody said the same thing about him being in Milwaukee at the same time that Trump was in Milwaukee before they announced bans. But but there has been a lot more communication this time. So I would be really surprised, since they're going to be both in the same place at the same time, that something doesn't come from this time. Because you've always got to have those people that just want to keep chaos alive. I've seen 4 or 5 accounts that are like, well, now that he's considering bringing over Kennedy, what if he made him his vice president? Stop it.
Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it.
Why would you, you look at what JD is doing on the Sunday shows and every interview he has with the media and every soundbite of him, he is an excellent spokesperson and he gives it right back. He's as good as Carrie Lake. He's as good as anybody he's as good as Kayleigh McEnany. You don't want to lose him. Come on.
No, exactly. And I mean, that's just it. It's like I said, I wasn't sold on him during the RNC. I was watching everything, and I mean, granted, it was probably a big ass thing to take in, and at least he wasn't sitting there like the Kami Lama's VP pick, trying not to tear up every 5 seconds. That was really weird. I
For
wonder how
picking
many,
his nose.
wonder how many times he's gonna cry tonight. I should start a drinking game about how many times he cries tonight, since I'm going to be spending some time over there on that feed. But anyway, but it was like he went from being somebody that just didn't seem like he was very sure of himself, and then it was like a switch got flipped, because when he was on the ground headed to one of the rallies, and he just stood up inside the plane and started taking questions from the reporters. I was like, who is this kid? And then since then, he's just been, I mean, and the other thing that I thought was absolutely amazing, and I really thought it was absolutely amazing because the ladies of The View lost their shit, is when he's marching across the tarmac to come try to talk to Kamala Harris, realizes she's not there, then goes over to the press guy and goes, hey, I'm just here to check out the plane that I hope is going to be mine in a few months, and you guys look kind of lonely because she never talks to you. So I just want to see how you were doing.
No, that was the best troll. That was like Trump level troll. That was like 2016 level Trump troll.
And it was, and it landed too. I mean, that's the one thing.
It did. It hurt.
That's the one thing is, look, I get it. I know Trump's into the nicknames and everything else, and I think he's finally found the one that's landed for him for Kamala. But I don't know if it's gonna hurt her because because their party doesn't care. But with Vance doing it, because everybody's kind of become immune to Trump doing it, because you've got somebody that annoys you all the time. Eventually, you just start developing a skin, and you don't even really notice it anymore. But when Vance does it now, it's just like the second he says anything, it's just like, I can't believe he did that. He was basically threatening the vice president of the United States of America. Blah 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 blah.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was trolling her. Did you see that clip of Donald Trump on The View back when he had The Apprentice that was going viral again?
Uh-huh.
I mean, these people just lie. They just lie.
Joe Rogan found a clip from, right before he announced to run, where he was on The View and they were all hugging and smooching and just, oh, we love you, blah, blah, blah. The only one that I think is at least somewhat consistent with it, even though she played nice on TV, was Whoopi. Because when everybody else was being like syrupy to him, you could kind of see her on camera going, fuck this guy. So I think she may be the only one who's at least genuine in how she's always felt about him, even if she tried to hide it on camera.
Well, and Anna Navarro.
But I mean, it's so weird. And
Anna Navarro.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I still thought that was a weird moment last night. I still thought that was a weird moment last night when she was like, who wants to vote for anybody that hangs around with somebody that shoots dogs? I'm like, your party kills babies. I get it. Shooting dogs is bad. That's why we said no when we found out. But again, living in the country, it does sometimes have to happen.
And she didn't shoot a dog like your little purse dog, Anna. Calm down.
I mean, Disney made a movie about it years ago. Anybody remember Old Yeller? That dog had to be shot. I know, because other than Bambi, that was my first real traumatic experience from Disney. And that's when I kind of started realizing Disney's not really my friend. They try to give me these warm, fuzzy movies, and then they take it and just make it bad. And now it's even worse. Disney. Oh, speaking of, I don't know how well you followed along with this, but I'm absolutely thrilled with this today, because the entire Star Wars group that was like, "Oh, if you don't want to watch the Acolyte, don't watch it. It wasn't made for you anyway." And now they're all pissed because we didn't watch it and it's been canceled.
Because nobody watched it. I tweeted that out the other day when I saw that it had been canceled. I just screenshot it and I'm like, "Don't fuck with the Force."
When you try to turn the Force into the farce, you lose every single time.
Okay, here's the thing. All right, who are the biggest Star Wars fans in the world? Gen X, right?
Yeah.
We probably all know somebody that came out in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're just that generation We stopped giving a shit years ago. We don't want it shoved down our throats. Like, we know these people, they don't want to be like on a stage. Like, they just want to live their lives. And they're not as much as the population as any given Hollywood TV show or movie would have you think. So can we all just calm the fuck down? And if you're going to shove it down my throat, I'm not going to watch it. And if you're completely going to screw up the canon to do it, no, thank you. No, thank you. I've been watching these movies since I was 6. Since I was 6. You can't come in now and try to explain to me.
I don't get to use
how any of this works. Just stop.
I don't get to use this one that often, and unfortunately, after tonight, I probably never will again. So I just decided to put up lesbian space witches suck.
Right? No, but like I heard somebody else say, like when the whole thing started, okay, who could make a bunch of like 40-something guys decide lesbian space witches are a bad thing?
I know, right? That was the first thing I thought of.
It was just like lesbian space witches, like in their own thing, but you don't put it in Star Wars. Like you can't. No. If you just made a lesbian space witches movie, every one of the guys that refused to watch your stupid Star Wars show would have gone to the movie.
Pretty much.
Am I lying?
No, you're not.
Okay.
No, you're not. Lesbians are hot most of the time.
I was going to say, have you seen the ones at the DNC?
I said most of the time, but now it's contractually.
That's not even most of the time. At least half of them are not at all hot.
Well, I only pay attention to the hot ones. The rest of them look like dudes, so I count them as dudes. Anyway, this is now contractually required because it'll probably be one of the last times I get to do this too. Ma'am, can you see if Kathleen Kennedy's under my bed? I love South Park.
I know. Help! I'm finding the best videos over on Facebook.
Which ones did you find now?
Oh, there's this like total Gen X channel, and it says like, "Good morning, you stunning stack of fucking sunshine." So I just keep sharing them. Like, they're things we should totally play on the show.
Send them to me. I'll figure out how to work them in.
Oh my god, it's too funny. Let's see. What was it today? It was. Now, if you'll excuse me. Oh, no, that's the end. Good morning, you stunning stack of fucking sunshine. Look who just crawled out of bed and has the devil shaking in his fucking boots. Hilarious as fuck. Titties held high and a wicked fucking attitude. You may be difficult sometimes and have a few fucking screws loose, but you're 100% you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go kick today in the fucking marbles. Keep spreading the fuckery.
That's awesome.
That cracks me up. Anyway, like, I don't even know why. I should probably grow up, but I don't think I'm going to.
Oh no, growing up is never acceptable.
Well, I got responsible. I just refuse to grow up.
This is true. There is in my estimation, there's a difference between being responsible and growing up, because being responsible and growing up means eventually you get boring. And
I grew up. I refuse to grow old. I'm not going to get scoldy. I'm not going to get no.
Hey, don't be
not going to get like church lady. I may go to church and I may say my prayers, but I'm not going to do church lady. No.
Don't be hating some of us that like to occasionally yell to kids to get off our lawns.
Well, but I mean, one of my favorite people in the entire world used to have a rubber band Gatling gun that he used to shoot at some triplets that used to come up on his yard.
I remember those things. I loved those things.
Yeah. He used to sit on the porch and shoot it at them. They thought it was hysterical.
Dude, one of my cousins used to shoot me with a BB gun.
Yeah, that's because you're a redneck.
I'm not even playing.
Every
dude.
good redneck's been shot with a BB gun.
I'm not even playing, dude. There was one time I was shooting in the backyard, and all of a sudden he takes the gun from me and he starts counting. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Why aren't you running yet?" Keeps counting. It's like, by the time I get to 15, you better not be standing here. So I just take off running down the street. So he starts chasing me out into the front yard as I'm running down the street. So luckily, he's a crap shot, but he still managed to hit me with a ricochet. He bounced the BB off the fucking street and hit me in my elbow. I was
At least
like,
it was your
ow,
elbow.
ow, that sucks. I still remember that.
I have friends that still have BBs like buried under skin.
I mean, we're the generation, though, that used to throw lawn darts up in the air and see who was dumb enough to stand under them the longest.
Darts. That was the beginning of safety culture when they took those things off the market because people were too dumb to get out of the way.
It's not my fault he didn't move. I told him to move.
Oh, I thought they were going to do bocce ball too.
Kind of surprised they didn't,
but you know, you can't even talk about the games we used to play. So
most of them would be considered illegal now.
Well, there was Smear the Queer.
Yep.
And there was Red Rover.
That was fun.
Like, we might be the only generation that played a game that involved clotheslining your best friends.
Oh, I'll probably change it after the DNC, but so we've got the standard help us keep the lights on donation link. And then just because I'm doing all this, so hopefully other people don't have to, I have also changed the other one that hides in the corner to buy me booze.
There you go.
Because I need booze. If I'm covering the DNC, I need booze. But anyway. Now, I actually got the idea. There's a lot of podcasters I've seen that use a similar setup, and they always put up a thing about halfway through that's like, buy me a cup of coffee. I'm like, fuck coffee, buy me booze.
Yeah, I like the people who want you to pay them to tweet.
No.
No, not paying you to tweet. I entertain myself far more than you're going to entertain me, I promise you. But everybody, Angel Studios, couple new movies coming out. Everybody should go. City of Dreams is there right now. It talks about the horror of human trafficking. Take a couple liberals and say, these are some of the 250,000 children that the Biden administration has lost. Did you see that report yesterday?
Oh, yeah. I was actually.
Oh, yeah.
In a second. Because remember when there was like, what was it? Like, I don't
50?
even know. Yeah, I was going to say it was like 50.
It was like 50 something.
And Kamala Harris was like, this is completely unacceptable, blah, 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 blah. Well, your vice president just lost over 5
250,000 kids. 250,000. That's bigger than a lot of cities.
This is true.
And she's the border czar.
No, she's not, Day.
She's only in charge of root causes. Really? Root causes of people coming here. You fixed nothing. You fixed nothing.
You
didn't even talk to the head of the Border Patrol union, and you supposedly love unions so much.
So
I loved the first night of the DNC, though, because all the people they don't really want the public to see. So it was Joe Biden, it was AOC, it was the union guy, it was Jill, and Hillary. Like, all the people they're saying good fucking bye to were on night one.
Yeah, they should have just renamed night one to na 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 na.
Hey.
Good.
Oh my God. I should have clipped it and sent it to you. I missed when we did the DNC. When I hopped on last night, the Star Spangled Banner had already been sung.
Yeah, and it was
I would
terrible.
like to say, if you have not heard it, you're going to have to go look it up because I cannot hear it again. It's literally like cats fighting.
They didn't know
but
the word.
They didn't know the words. They didn't know the tune. They knew nothing about the national anthem. And I can honestly say that Roseanne Barr no longer has the worst performance of it.
Oh. So
Roseanne Barr saw that and said, yes, I'm now the second worst.
That's what Carter said about Biden.
Yeah, right? I love all these people about Biden's consequential presidency. Oh, it's consequential, all right. Just not like you think.
So have you heard this? Because I remember there was a time when Nancy Pelosi, I thought half jokingly, said something about Joe Biden should wind up on Mount Rushmore. Then I heard somebody else. Then I heard somebody else say today, and I heard it. I think it was Glenn Beck that played the clip, and it was somebody. I don't remember who said it. Who he said it was, but it was somebody that said that Joe Biden would be on the Democratic version of Mount Rushmore, and they named off some famous Democratic presidents and said, and he would be right next to them. I'm like, that's not a thing, though. The hell is the Democratic Mount Rushmore? Like I said, these people are just constructing an alternate reality and expecting us to go along with them. I refuse.
No. And it only takes like 8% of the population to say no. Loudly, but to say no. Well, this is weird.
What's weird?
I just noticed something. Yeah, now I don't like your product.
What are we
You
talking
put this on my computer screen like it's okay. Get it the hell off.
You realize none of
I
us
have a Mac, and I use a product called Clean My Mac. And I just noticed on the little icon on the top, there's a fucking Ukrainian flag on it.
Bye-bye.
Well, I paid for a lifetime subscription, so I don't know what to do. I can't take any money away from them. Really? I don't want your flag on, like, put it on your own computers. I don't want it on mine. Oh, that just ruined my evening. Now it's all I can see.
You can never unsee that.
Here's the other thing I've noticed. You know how I've always called Joe Biden the fabulous in chief? Like, the guy has literally invented a life.
Yeah.
Tim Walz is just as bad.
Tim Walz is worse. But yes, I get your point.
No, I think he's literally a fabulous. He overinflates things he's done and everything else, hoping nobody else is going to notice. And that's fabulism. That's what that is.
Al Cephas is in the chat. What's up, Al?
Oh.
I know you're here to hang out with your co-host, not me, so it's fine.
And just for that, we will be doing a Playing in the Dark tomorrow morning, last I heard.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why I brought it up. We've about hit that part of the program. Oh, damn it. There was one other thing to talk about, and I don't remember. I hate it when that happens.
Doug Emhoff?
No, I don't really have anything to say about that asshole.
What a freaking beta, for starters. And I'm supposed to applaud this guy because he stood up there and lobbied for his wife to become like the most powerful person in the world. Okay. Yeah, that was super sweet. He's sucking up to her because he didn't know he boinked the nanny. That was news to her. She didn't know that.
Yep.
By all reports. And you notice when they went to the sheets, he wasn't allowed to get her Doritos. Tim did.
Oh, no.
He went and got her Doritos, and she treated him like the bitch he is. No, Tim, you got them? Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. That's the second cut. If you pay attention to that cut, she already had Doritos in her hand. They
No,
shot
no,
that.
no. I know, but who got on camera? It was not the second gentleman. I think he's in the doghouse, but he had to be on stage last night. And notice who was not in the audience when Dougie was speaking? His wife. She put all the people she didn't want nothing to do with last night.
Oh, but I'm just saying they're actually. I don't know if it made it. I don't know if it. I don't know what happened to it, but there was actually a leaked video of him actually getting the Doritos first.
Yeah, I know, but it went on the cutting room floor. Doug is in the doghouse.
Meh. All right. Why don't you remind folks where they can find you so we can start making room for the next one?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter getting in trouble for using the phrase race card.
I saw that.
And you can also listen to me talk about fall planting and things like beets and garlic tomorrow on Playing in the Dirt with Al at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Remember, you guys are both in the same time zone, so don't confuse yourself.
Look. Look.
I'm trying to be helpful, damn it.
It makes no sense to me that Al and I are in the same time zone. None.
Doesn't really make any sense to me either, because but
okay.
He's got cornfields and stuff, and you don't. So anyway,
we don't have cornfields around here. We have apple orchards.
I know, apple orchards and pecans.
Pecans are down south.
And peaches.
I actually was offered peanut seeds in a catalog today, and I know we can grow peanuts here, and peanuts are some of the most awful things you can buy because they have so many fertilizers and pesticides on them. So I was thinking maybe I'll get some peanut seeds.
Very, very nice.
It's just a legume.
All right, folks, we got to get out of here. I'm Rick Robinson. You guys know most of my stuff by now. I'm not going through all of it. G's up next. Thank you for hanging out for whatever. We'll be back next week. Remember, tonight is an abbreviated schedule for Chat Lives Matter night. There is no FUBAR, and Orty may or may not make it in later, but since we're not sure, as soon as G wraps, we're going to change over to the Digital Beacon feed and go hang out over on the DNC. Please send booze. Good night, everybody. And you can find Stacy at Scott's Fire. You can find me at RadioX73. If you're not yet, follow along with the station at KLR Radio or our new news channel at Digital Beacon US. Bye, everybody.
To be whatever I choose, and I'll sing the blues if I want. I'm free to say whatever I like. If it's wrong or right, it's alright. Always seems to me.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
I'm Jordan Klinger, an attorney at McIntyre Law. The decision to hire an attorney after you've been injured is important. The decision on who to hire is even more important. At McIntyre Law, we will settle a case if the offer to our client is fair. Partial justice is no justice at all. At McIntyre Law, we are committed to obtaining full justice for our clients. Contact McIntyre Law at 405-917-5200 or visit us at mcintyrelaw.com.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, Think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow,
It's been an actual nightmare.
to oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez. Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis, now streaming on Freevee.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And I hope you're holding over from whatever with Rick and Stacy. If you're not, shame on you. If you're ditching me after them, shame on you. You need to be here all night with us. It's Wednesday night. It's KLRN Radio. It just is. It is. And we are not unburdened by what has been. We are what is. Dig on that. I am sorry that I was out last week. Couldn't be helped. But I'm here, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to go back a week, and I'm going to dish on some feelings that I have about Governor Tim Walz, Big Daddy, Mr. Stolen Valor. Look, I wanted to do this last week, and I didn't get to, but I have to get this off my chest. And a lot of people out there are either dismissive or very forgiving of his lies, particularly the lies related to his military service. The man has no honor. He has no integrity. He's a lying sack of shit. And he deserves to be called out for it. Why? Because we honor each other as veterans. We don't honor ourselves. We honor the men that were around us, that did what they were supposed to do, and the women. Okay? The fact of the matter is that Tim Walz did not ascend to the rank of Command Sergeant Major. He has lied about that on numerous occasions. He filled the role of a vacant Command Sergeant Major. That is not the same thing as attaining the rank of. He was an acting Command Sergeant Major. He did not get promoted to Command Sergeant Major. It is a blatant lie, and he dishonors himself, and he discredits his 24 years of service in lying. He lied about carrying quote unquote weapons of war in war. He dishonored the men that did. As a veteran, it's not hard to just tell the truth about what you did in the military. It's on your record. It's there plain as day. There's a reason they scrubbed it from Kamala's campaign page, because they know it's true. They know he lied. And they kept this piece of shit regardless. Because, vibes. All the high kicks, he acts like he wants to be a rockette. I think they told him to cut the kicks out. If you saw him walk out at the convention tonight, he looked like a game show contestant coming out. He's not serious, but I guess that makes sense because she's not either. We're gonna push into some things. I'm going to reference a couple of articles by both Noah Rothman and Charles C.W. Cook. So bear with me as I go through this, but Kamala Harris, thin, fragile, manufactured. Nominating her without a primary fight was an accident of circumstances, but also probably a necessity. Her signature phrases are banal or risibly vacuous. We can start with the coconut tree and unburdened by what has been. Her brat branding is derivative. She didn't come up with the concept or even the idea that she herself is brat. She doesn't even know what it is. Until somebody explained it to her by now, I'm sure. All of this is correct and paradoxically is both Harris's biggest strength and her biggest weakness. I don't know if you've noticed it heading into this last weekend and into the start of the convention. The vibes are kind of going away. Not completely, they're still trying, but it's kind of shifting. And well, if you want to know why, it's because she's starting to get pressed, and she knows that she has to start talking about policy. And guess what happens when she does? That's right. We find out that she is every bit the lunatic that she always has been. All honeymoons come to an end, but mostly because her almost complete lack of substance is proving to be politically unstable. It's going to do her in. I don't know if everybody has seen yet the Gina Raimondo at the convention. She's the Secretary of Commerce. Gina Raimondo is former governor. I forget what state. Not important. She's unimportant in her position anyway. They asked her about the jobs revision, and she dismissed it as saying that she doesn't believe that statistic because Donald Trump has never said anything true. And the reporter even said it's the Bureau of Labor, the Bureau of Labor, which is hand in hand with the Department of Commerce. And she said she is unfamiliar with them. The fuck have you been doing since 2020 or 2021? Excuse me. The last 3.5 years as the Secretary of Commerce, and you're not familiar with the Bureau of Labor? This is the whole damn problem with Harris and Biden and the whole joint administration is everything about them is a fucking cartoon. They don't have a damn clue. With Harris, as with other beneficiaries of hype-driven marketing campaigns, the line between cool and a national joke is pretty thin. Done right, coconut tree nonsense is superficially pleasing, but when the air goes out of the room, it's likely to look suddenly ridiculous. Think about other circumstances in which the same stimulus changes dramatically depending on the context. Music at a party feels great until somebody there has a heart attack, at which point it sounds absurd and cloying. A child's bedroom becomes immediately more poignant after they have flown the nest, even if nothing in it has been removed. A newly purchased boat or golf cart goes from being a fun toy to a stressful liability the second that the owner loses their job. So it goes with vacuole campaigns of affinity. Politicians who are known for concrete ideas or achievements are often able to weather storms. Politicians whose reputations are built atop fluff and adorned with baubles are not. Kamala Harris, she may well win the election in November. Who's to say at this point? But even if she does, she's going to come unstuck long before, because pace all the press-installed scaffolding that is holding her up at the present. She remains the shallow, mediocre, off-putting, unlikable fool that she always has been. The ghastly cackle that has temporarily been transmuted into a virtue by the media and the left. It won't appear that way when things get serious. Her total inability to construct a sentence that doesn't read like a drunk non-English speaker wrote a fortune cookie using Google Translate. When the stakes are high, it's a liability. When the preposterous flip-flopping, which is being sold as healthy pragmatism, It'll bite when applied to a salient issue on which voters do not want to be dismissed, like the economy, like the border, like mortgages. If in the last few days it feels as if the momentum behind Harris has slowed a little, that's likely because having smiled along the palm tree emojis for a few days, voters have started to ask what else is in the offer here, and been a little less excited by the response than they imagined they would be at the start. Now, does that mean they're going to turn and run and vote for Trump? No. Trump pulling his own stupidity today in North Carolina, saying that he has enough votes to win. He's not worried about getting more people to come vote for him. Stupid move. Stupid move. The votes aren't there until they're there. And, you know, back to Harris, a facade with nothing behind it is all well and good when the sun is shining, but as ever, it is considerably less so when you're in need of somewhere to sleep. She can't keep this up forever. She has to talk. The party doesn't even want her to debate. They're telling her no policy issues. Well, the three she's thrown out so far are doozies. You talk about sending the country into a depression and recession. Recession, depression, depression, recession, however you want to line it up. It's an economic disaster. Unrealized gains. Unrealized gains. Oh, but don't worry, it's only on people that have a net worth more than 100 million. I don't care. It's not right. And if it starts off as only people over 100 million, what's to stop them from moving it down to, say, 50, and then 10, and then 1, and then 500,000? I know you're saying you're still only in the top 1%, but we're increasing the number of people in that top 1%. What happens when it gets to middle class? Because no matter what, 28% corporate tax rate, 44% unrealized capital. I forget what that. What's 44%? Rick, are you with me still? No, he's not. That's fine. So one of the tax proposals was 44%, 28%, and then the unrealized gains, I believe, were 25, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, you add it all up. $2.25 trillion is what this costs. Where's that coming from? All she can say is, you don't have to worry about the cost because of the return on investment. Well, that's not going to wash. You do have to worry about the cost, especially if you're going to try to play the game that only people that make more than 100 million are going to be hit by this. Well, you're not getting any money then. I mean, honestly, how many people are worth more than 100 million in this country? It's a very small number. Yes, we do have some billionaires here. Again, this is a small number. This is also a way to disincentivize hiring, corporate growth, jobs growth. You name it. She's working to nix it all. She'll have to talk eventually. So, let's back up. You can tell that the GOP's effort to hit Harris's anti-price gouging scheme as price controls has some bite to it. Why can you tell? Because those who are invested in Harris's success are twisting themselves into the most inconceivable pretzels to insist that the government setting price limits by fiat is somehow distinct from price controls. Even some middle of the road economic commentators have been hyperventilating, saying that she's essentially calling for price controls. I mean, even the idiot Paul Krugman, really, we should be grateful to Krugman for voluntarily distancing himself from even middle of the road economic commentators whose prudence and intellectual honesty he does not share. What she has actually called for is legislation banning price gouging on groceries, Krugman said. He goes on to say that Harris's detail-free policy slogan is probably no more radical than Elizabeth Warren's anti-price gouging plan, which is, at the very least, damnation by faint praise. All Harris's plan attempts to do, according to Krugman, is set price limits, without which businesses actively collude to impose shortages on consumers. The example he cites is California's oppressively regulated energy market, which he appears to allege has deprived consumers of access to on-demand power for no particular reason. Now, whatever the merits of Krugman's logic, he certainly does not explain why a plan to control prices does not, in fact, constitute a price control. While Krugman was phoning it in, Axios reporter Emily Peck did her best to craft a cogent argument in favor of this hopelessly illogical proposal. Don't call it price controls, Peck's outfit declared, claiming to show how price gouging bans really work. She follows Krugman's lead in asserting that it would not be a federal price control scheme if the federal government set prices, because state-level laws already prohibit price gouging. That's a non sequitur, but it's one to which Harris's defenders are partial. So basically, they have nothing to point to that validates this position. I mean, unless they're going to call out the great toilet paper shortage of the COVID era. But even at that, that wasn't a shortage, that was people hoarding. And there was no price gouging. They limited what you could buy, but that wasn't the government. You know, going back, Peck noted that most states in the union have restrictions on excessive price hikes, but those laws are triggered in a natural disaster during which the governor or federal government has declared an emergency. Under these laws, companies that raise prices can defend themselves by demonstrating that they increased prices because their costs went up. Excuse me. Peck writes that, citing Fordham University professor and one-time far left gubernatorial candidate in New York, Zephyr Teachout, that means that they should be able to maintain their profit margins. Excuse me again. If Teachout says businesses will satisfy their fiduciary obligations to their stakeholders, the matter must be settled, right? Yeah. Having made no argument, Peck declares the case closed. Price gouging is not the same as price controls, where a government sets prices for certain goods. The U.S. dabbles there just a smidge, see the new insulin price cap. And don't get me wrong, I think that's a great thing for diabetics. I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody that they shouldn't get cheaper medicine. I'm also not going to sit here and say that the government should make them sell it for a certain price. I don't know how I could comment on that, even more accurately, other than to say it doesn't affect me, so I'm not in the boat, so to speak. But this is what passes for intellectual rigor among Kamala Harris's brain trust in the commentariat. And I'm telling you, this is going to make for a long and infuriating campaign, because they're going to contort, they're going to deflect, they're going to word salad us into submission. That, I think, is the whole plan. I really do. I think they have absolutely nothing of substance to run on. And that's why they're pushing hard with this vibes thing and the joy thing. Oh, by the way, yeah, speaking of that, we're into the third night of the Democratic National Convention. Has anybody that's watched, have you seen much joy from the speakers on stage? I haven't. They all seem like bitter ass old people that can't ruin our lives enough, so it's pissing them off even more. And they also keep using the word forward. They like that word forward, but they're saying that they're going forward and they won't go back. So what do they do for the Democratic National Convention? They drag in the past. The Obamas, the Clintons, even Joe, he's the past. He is an empty suit. He's every bit the empty suit. He is a lame duck, dawdling old fool. And he absolutely let himself get there. Do I feel bad for Joe? Hell no. Joe's a despicable son of a bitch, and he always has been. And he deserves every bit of it. The problem is we don't. All right, we are to the bottom of the hour. I think it's time to take that break. Rick's going to push a button. We can refill our drinks, stretch our legs, and be back here in 4 minutes. On your mark, get set. Well, hit the button, Rick. I don't know where Rick is. He was going to make his dinner plate. I don't know. I guess we're going to hold off on that break for a minute or two. It'll be all right. Oh, man. We'll just keep pushing. Let's see. Yeah. Price controls, higher taxes, government intervention, subsidies paid for by printing a constantly devalued currency. There you go. These are all the pillars of 21st century socialism and the radical left ideology of Peronism that obliterated Argentina. These are also the main elements of the economic plan so far presented by Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. Undoubtedly, this is the most radical socialist economic plan ever put out by Democrats. According to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, Harris's proposals will bare bones cost $1.95 trillion over 10 years. However, it emphasizes that is bare bones, and that certain measures that are very likely to become permanent would raise this figure to over $2.25 trillion. The Harris campaign has stated that these costs will be offset by a classic excuse of socialism in any election: higher taxes on corporations and high earners. This is obviously ludicrous because there is no revenue measure that will cover the already bloated $2 trillion annual deficit and the added $2 trillion from Harris's proposals. Increasing the corporate tax to 28% will cripple small businesses and reduce investment. While the large corporations that Harris attacks can move parts of their businesses to other countries, this would bring the United States to one of the highest business tax burdens in developed nations. The worldwide average statutory corporate income tax rate is 23.45. Ironically, Harris boasts about a record tax receipts in 2024 using the Trump tax rate. Yes. In her own proposal, she admits that increasing the corporate tax rate would harm the economy. She admits it. Yet she wants to do it anyway. Why, if not, has she lowered it from her 35% proposal of 2020? Yeah, that's right. When she was campaigning, when she was on the trail polling at 0% before dropping out, when she was railing Biden like he was her $3 date and she was the ramrod, why did she change it? Why 7% lower now? Furthermore, the optimistically estimated revenue boost of $800 billion over a decade, which is even more than debatable, does not even scratch the surface of the $2.25 trillion expenditure added to the $2.6 trillion deficit. The mantra of higher taxes for the rich always means higher taxes and more inflation, a hidden tax, not so hidden right now, or in the future if she wins, for you. When is it going to be time for the assholes that we elect to become responsible and cut the spending? When? I just want to know who's actually got the balls to do it. The Congressional Budget Office has already warned of a fiscal disaster of the United States with an annual deficit of 6% of GDP. Despite not accounting for a recession and projecting record tax revenues from 2024 to 2034, the CBO predicts an explosion in the budget deficit from 1.9 trillion to 2.8 by 2034, even before factoring in Harris's new spending plan. That means the adjusted deficit will rise above 6.9% of GDP, almost twice the average of 3.7% over the previous 50 years. Are you starting to see how dangerous this woman is and her ideology is? Are you getting it yet? Have you seen the jobs numbers? Most people have just gleaned the headline today. They downgraded the jobs over the past 12 months by 1 million. 1 million. We talked about it earlier. That was Gina Raimondo, claiming she didn't believe it. The other part that you have to read down into page 2 or 3 of this report about the downward revision is that of the jobs that actually were created, nearly 80% are either government jobs or part-time jobs. So they're being funded by us taxpayers They're creating jobs that we pay for so that they can claim that they're creating jobs. And in the interim, people are losing their asses, losing their jobs, and going to work part-time because that's all they can find. It's disgusting. Following the Harris Plan, United States public debt will likely increase by $24 trillion in a decade. There is no set of revenue measures that can bring $2 trillion per year in additional tax receipts, and tax hikes will harm both investment and growth. An economy that generates an annual deficit of 6% of GDP to achieve a mere 2% annual growth is already on a dangerous path, and Harris's plan would only accelerate this and make it worse. There's no way around it. She can't explain this away. When the leather meets the pavement, where the rubber meets the road, they have to make her give details. Somebody has to. So she can start cackling and say, return on investment, return on investment. She promises to cut inflation by spending and printing more money, reducing competition, and attacking businesses. She is the current Vice President of the United States. And on day one, when she and Joe Biden took office, they claimed that this was a joint administration and that they would both do everything policy-wise together. Why is she now trying to separate herself from that? The reporter even asked Biden, what if you two disagree on policy? Who remembers this? I know I'm not the only one that remembers this.
I remember it.
Biden said, I will resign and hand it all over to her. How in the hell have the last 3.5 years of their policies of cutting inflation by spending and printing more money and reducing competition and attacking businesses do we need to see before we realize it's not working? Welcome to the Peronism of the United States. Former Argentine President Juan Perón instituted a form of socialism that bankrupted Argentina and is now threatening to devastate the United States as well. Imagine all the United States citizens who have escaped Latin American or European economies impoverished by interventionism to find a better opportunity in the United States, only to find out that the same policies will be implemented by Harris. The narrative of price gouging and greedflation that drives American Peronism is simply false. In 2023, profit margins in the grocery industry hit the lowest level since 2019 at 1.6%. This is according to the socialist organization, the International Monetary Fund. Corporations, even if they were stupid and reckless, cannot make all prices rise constantly. Competition would eat away at their market share. Newcomers would eliminate them, and aggregate prices would fall. Furthermore, stores and businesses cannot make aggregate prices soar, maintain the increase, and consolidate it, which is the measure of inflation, consumer price index, we read every month. The only thing that can make all prices rise and continue increasing at a slower pace is printing money and eroding the purchasing power of the currency. The only thing that can make aggregate prices rise constantly is the destruction of the purchasing power of our currency, which comes from the massive government spending and printing currency to disguise fiscal imbalances. Kamala Harris and her team know that their spending plan will make the national debt soar and that price controls do not reduce prices. In fact, these should not be called price controls, but limits to competition. If corporations were the cause of inflation and price controls were the solution, Peronist Argentina would have enjoyed the lowest inflation in the world in the past decades. Harris's proposals to forgive debt are profoundly antisocial. They do not forgive any debt, they just add it to the national debt and make you pay for it. This enormous increase in public debt will be a burden for every American, particularly the poorest, with persistent inflation and lower real wages. U.S. citizens have already endured negative real wage growth since January of 21 when Biden took office. That's according to the Federal Reserve. You can expect worse if Harris wins this election. Why does Harris promote, excuse me, the same policies that have failed everywhere, promising free stuff and blaming others or the negative consequences is the defining strategy of socialist politicians. Are you really surprised to see how Germany, France, and other historically rich nations slump into stagnation, high debt, persistent inflation, enormous taxes, and the destruction of their middle class? It's those same policies that Harris is promising. Who benefits? Well, the vast government and its surrounding corporation cronies reap the benefits. Many people hold the belief that a nation cannot be considered socialist if it contains private companies. This argument makes no sense. State control does not limit itself to capital ownership, but also to the imposition of increasingly restrictive laws, regulations, and confiscatory taxes. Damn it. I'll get it out. In fact, the government likes to absorb most of the wealth created by the private sector without the inconvenience of managing the businesses. Huerta de Soto defines socialism as any system of institutional methodical aggression against the free exercise of entrepreneurship. And that's exactly what Harris promises to do with higher taxes, more debt, and price controls that aren't price controls. The government will print money to provide subsidies in a currency that is constantly losing value. It will blame stores and businesses for inflation. Interventionist policies will continue to erode the private sector, and they will repeat. The makers of these policies are aware that they will negatively impact the economy, yet they will also leave a significant number of basically enslaved citizens who rely on the government and must abide by its decisions. This is what they do. They break the middle class and they chip off the bottom edge of it every time. And they get them hooked on government subsidies. And then they build the middle class back a little bit and then they break it again. And they chip off that bottom piece and add it. And they keep adding and they keep adding and they keep breaking and chipping away and adding. And eventually they'll have enough people dependent on them to where they can't afford to go against the government. You know, voters, they see an alleged tsunami of free money, but they ignore the fact that they will pay for it through higher inflation, lower wages, diminishing opportunities for small businesses and families. The Harris team believes deficits do not matter and that the Federal Reserve can always disguise any budget imbalance. However, the cracks are already appearing in these policies. Persistent inflation is the consequence of years of excessive spending and monetization, as it was in Peronism. The next step is the risk of losing the US dollar as the world reserve currency when the world stops accepting the ever-increasing debt. Harris's plan is simply anti-growth. Her main advisors are not even trying to disguise it, Barack Obama. There's not a single pro-growth policy in the plans announced. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is nothing more antisocial than to destroy the purchasing power of the currency and accumulate trillions of dollars in debt. Big government has led to big debt and diminishing opportunities for businesses and families. What the United States needs is a pro-growth plan, smaller government, sound monetary policy, and lower taxes to stimulate it all. How do we get that? Well, we're not going to get it completely with Donald Trump, but he is a damn sight better at it than Kamala will ever be, because she doesn't want to be. She is for our destruction and our undoing because they want to be in charge. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about themselves. And when you're at the top of the food chain, controlling the government, controlling the industries, controlling the people, what do you care? You're living high on the hog. You know, it's the Marie Antoinette syndrome. Let them eat cake. She didn't even say it, by the way, you know? She gets bum rap for that. Some other heifer actually said it, not Marie Antoinette. Anyway, I kind of blew through this a little quicker. I had the commercial break built in. We could probably still use the commercial break, Rick, if you've got it queued.
I mean, you've only got 12 minutes left now.
Well, I know, but I'm down to the happy ending story, so.
Yeah, no, I never heard you call for the break, but I was also dealing with something else, so that was probably
Well, I did right at the bottom of the hour, but you were not there, so we kept going.
had that slider set wrong. Hang on, let me get it right.
We're going to take a short break, folks. When we come back, we'll get G's guaranteed happy ending.
Is it really, though? Is it really?
It is.
I've been running out of bounds like an animal struggling, looking for a diamond. I'm trying, I'm fighting, riding in the rhythm now. I just wanna stay
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
I'm Jordan Klinger, an attorney at McIntyre Law. The decision to hire an attorney after you've been injured is important. The decision on who to hire is even more important. At McIntyre Law, we will settle a case if the offer to our client is fair. Partial justice is no justice at all. At McIntyre Law, we are committed to obtaining full justice for our clients. Contact McIntyre Law at 405-917-5200 or visit us at mcintyrelaw.com.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
You damn Skippy. All right. We needed the break to span my time. I had my show time perfectly to add the break in. Can you imagine that?
Never.
I know. I mean, really, it's crazy, but that's how it's going to work out. Look, I don't know what anybody's opinion of this man is. Excuse me, my screen's trying to go to sleep. But recently, there has been a huge shakeup in the world of sports broadcasting, and it's really huge. It is. If you are at all a fan of the NBA, Turner Sports, TNT, lost out on the upcoming 11-year rights deal to broadcast the NBA games. So they have one more year, I think, after this one. So it'll be the 25-26 season, and then they lose their rights to broadcast. So that'll be the end of their 11-year contract. But while they may have lost, it's sad for them. But I mean, here's the deal:
That's
they
kind
may
of
have
where
lost. Yeah, they lost their Apex product, because that is like their big thing for sports. They didn't lose their Apex mouthpiece, who turned down a whopping $100 million contract offer to go join the team that's going to be broadcasting the NBA games after TNT loses out. Who are we talking about? None other than Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley turned down $100 million to go join the other team And this is his reasoning for doing it. He said, that the team, he did it so that the team that supports him at TNT in the studio and on the air could maintain their jobs for their final year together. Barkley revealed on the Dan Le Batard show that as TNT enters the final year of its contract to broadcast the NBA games, he had the option to end his participation with the network and go on to sign for $100 million with their competition, who won the broadcasting rights. Barkley will be entering his 25th year with the company and is at the end also with this last season, the end of his 10-year contract. But he chose to stay on board to make sure that the team maintained their livelihoods. Barkley said, "I love my TNT sports family. My number one priority is and always has been, will be keeping our people together for as long as possible." He said, "We have the most amazing people and they are the best at what they do. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them on both shows we currently have and new ones that we develop in the future." In late July, the NBA chose to sign a $1.8 billion per year offer from ESPN's parent company, Walt Disney, NBC, and Amazon for the next 11 years of NBA coverage. While TNT's offer of the same amount of money was rebuffed. So that's interesting. The league stated that it looked forward to another season on TNT, and Turner is pouting about it, saying they're going to examine legal options. I don't know what your legal options are if they choose to go elsewhere at the end of the contract. But, Barkley said he wanted to thank all of those networks for reaching out to him. He said it was humbling and very cool, to be honest. And he said, even though they were throwing crazy numbers, quote unquote, like, damn, but as long as I got my people safe at TNT, he said, I really feel good about the decision. And you know me, I don't like anybody. I don't celebrate people losing jobs. So I have some tremendous respect for Charles on this. He may not be my favorite person, especially when he starts running his mouth about politics, but I have mad respect for that. And there are a lot of people working today because of that. And if that's not good news, I don't know what is in this economy. Friends, that's the show. If you like it, tell your friends. If they like it, you need new friends. But they and you are welcome right here with me Wednesday nights on KLRN Radio, America's podcast network, where liberty and reason still reign. I'm your host, The Grouch. Peace.
What you doing? I've been jumping through some hoops. Wanna get my body loose. Wanna tell you what to do.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
Here's to us. Here's to love. All the times that we messed up. Here's to you. Feel the grass. Cause the last few lives have kicked my ass. And thank you, your help. Time go fuck themselves. Here's to us. Here's to us. Here's to us. Here's to us. Here's to us.
All right, folks, this will conclude the abbreviated version of Chat Lives Matter Night tonight. All right, that will conclude the abbreviated version of Chat Lives Matter Night. Here in just a moment, we will be joining the Democratic National Convention live and in progress over on the Digital Beacon. We were testing something because the last time I kicked Jeff off of a feed, I took it over. But I noticed when Jeff did that the other night, it split feeds. So I don't know if you guys are going to come with me or have to go find me, but you can find us either on my account, the Beacons account, or the KLR Radio account, because we're just going to simulcast the rest of it for tonight. But we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for hanging out for the normal Wednesday night stuff. We should hopefully be back to normal next Wednesday. But we're going to shut this one down and kick the other one off. You guys have a great night.